Now, a severe cold front has made landfall in the Western Cape. Many informal settlements in the province have been flooded. Newzroom Afrika's Athi Mtongana joins us now live from Khayelitsha for more on the story. And Athi, you and I have been speaking since yesterday about the effects of this kind of cold front, particularly in the Western Cape. We know, known for gale force winds, heavy rains, and the poorest South Africans the hardest hit.
Yes, of course, Michelle. They are the ones who always bear the brunt of inclement weather conditions like this one. And you're right, the cold front has made landfall. It's raining as I talk to you, and this morning many residents in many informal settlements across the Western Cape are now trying to take water out of their homes, because a lot of these informal settlements, as you may know, Michelle, do get flooded. I mean, residents here in this Nkanini informal settlement in Khayelitsha, which has been in existence for over 10 years, were telling us that they have had to find ways to ensure that they try to help the situation that they're in. So they're telling me that they have a generator which they collectively use as a community, so they contribute money for petrol for this generator, and for this generator to be able they install pipes in this generator, and this generator is able to suck up some of the water around some of these homes. Now I'm going to ask my colleague to pan and show you some of the homes that are already flooded. Residents are finding it very difficult to even step out of their homes because of the amount of water here that has filled up this part of this informal settlement. And like I said, it has been in existence for over 10 years, many of them talking about it being here for over 18 years, actually, Michelle. So residents are really finding it difficult to move around in a situation like this. And I know a lot of them have been saying temporary reprieve is not what they want. We know the city's disaster management team is on high alert to try and issue out some flood kits to residents like this one who are affected. I'm just going to walk and try to talk to this resident here who has been doing this since we arrived this morning. Simpiwe, can we just talk to Simpiwe? Can you come closer to us? We want to talk to you about your situation here and what you've been doing all morning since we arrived. We've been seeing you trying to get water out of your home. Simpiwe, talk to us about your situation and how you feel about doing this every single time it rains in Cape Town. And you can speak Xhosa if you want.
Okay. And Simpiwe Blani, 18 years ndihlala apha kule ndlu. Okwasenza lo msebenzi okhupha amanzi ezindlini. Doti ngoku aside sifumane indawo engathi zirayight. So loo nto le ayindiphathi kakuhle.
Do you often get fever? Do you often get colds as a result of water piling up into your home? And are you fearful now specifically because there's COVID-19 as well?
Into enzeka uba ngaba apha endlini nalxa ngena lapha endlini lamanzi, and then xa ngena apha endlini kuchoka kwanto lapha endlini kuba kaloku kukhona umbane wona ukhona ndangxanto umbane noba uyapheka nembiza ziyachoka neebhakla ziyachoka, so sidle loo mpilo apha enkaneni.
What kind of measures have you implemented as a community? That other gentleman there was telling me that you use a generator that you contribute, all of you, financially to, where you try to suck the water out. And this is an initiative that you have done as a community without government.
Xa kunethileyo kuyanyanzeleka into yoba ke kukho igenerator ekhoyo apha yathengwa thina ngabantu abahlala apha endlini. Sibane sibetha imali ke ngofuna uba makufunxelwe amanzi okwexeshana, ayonto yenzeka oko loo nto le. Kuba kaloku xa ngaba siyekile kungekho manzi yanantsi ke kungekho generator, la manzi angena endlini oko adama nalapha endlini, akho ndawo uhamba. Ufumanise uba ngoku xa uphuma emnyango uphuma sekukho amanzi endlini, awukwazi uphuma. And then nomntwana akakwazi ukuphuma abheke phandle phantsi kwale situation sikule meko sikuyo.
All right. Thank you so much, Simpiwe Blani, a resident here, who's talking to us. Just to loosely translate, Michelle, she's basically talking about how difficult it is for them and him specifically and his family inside. He says the house gets flooded, and as a result, the electric appliances here, they choke them. They feel like at some point they might electrocute them because they feel like the amount of water affects the electricity inside their home. And one thing about this community, Michelle, is that they have, out of their own accord, without waiting for government, they have financially contributed to a generator which they install pipes in, which tries to drain some of the water out. We will show you that much later on, Michelle. And it will continue to rain in the Western Cape. Many parts will be affected. It's not only here in Khayelitsha, it's many other communities. We know that there are some uprooted trees in some parts of the Western Cape. The rain is going to continue to pour well into this evening as well as the weekend, Michelle.
Athi, before we let you go, yesterday you and I were talking about the provision of flood kits as a preventative measure, not a reactive measure, once people's homes have already been flooded. What is the city doing in terms of, one, the provision of these flood kits in advance, but secondly, a more permanent solution, and that is the perennial question?
A permanent solution, of course, Michelle, like the residents always say, is to move them out of these informal structures into proper RDP houses. But we know there's a housing backlog in the Western Cape, and a lot of residents are still waiting for houses. And I mean, at some point, just engaging with the Western Cape government, the Human Settlements Department, for many years, they've been telling us through interviews that they would not be able to supply houses for every single individual that's on that housing list. And so it is a huge problem for residents here in the Western Cape, and it is temporary reprieve to provide them with flood kits, because most of these communities which do get identified by the City of Cape Town's Risk and Disaster Management team as flood hotspots, they say to us that these flood kits don't even get to these communities. So some communities get these flood kits and some of them don't. And actually there's also another option of taking the residents who are heavily affected into community halls. But considering that we're going through COVID-19 right now, and considering that you can't put a group of people inside one huge community hall, those are some of the challenges that are going to be faced by the City of Cape Town's Risk and Disaster Management team in trying to help with the situation in many informal settlements in the Western Cape.
Yeah, it's just not acceptable that month after month, season after season, the same challenges arise, not only in the Western Cape, but around the country. Athi, we're out of time, but I want to ask you very quickly for an update. You are our reporter in Cape Town. An update on the search for that 8-year-old girl, the man who jumped into that canal in Athlone to try to save her. Have you had any update from disaster management as yet?
So as soon as the South African Police's diving unit, as well as the City of Cape Town's diving unit, get to the scene, we will be there. We'll bring you those visuals. They haven't started yet. Of course, now it's getting lighter. It was much darker when I spoke to you earlier on. But as soon as they begin with their rescue mission, we will be there on the ground to bring you the latest developments from Khayelitsha informal settlement in Athlone.